For more, we're joined by Treasurer Josh Frydenberg. Thanks for your time, Treasurer.
Good morning, Nat. Good morning, Kochi.
Given the success of these measures so far, how difficult is it going to be to wind them back when the time comes?
Well, they've been very successful to date in doing what we intended, namely to stimulate investment. We saw machinery and equipment sales up very significantly. Businesses are feeling more confident now to invest. That's helping to create jobs, and families are getting that tax relief. But what we're focused on with the tax system is permanent structural reform. And as you know, we've legislated stage 3 of our tax cuts through the Parliament, which will see one big tax bracket, Nat, between $45,000 and $200,000, where people pay a marginal rate of no more than 30 cents in the dollar. And it's that big structural tax reform that is being debated now within the Labor Party, because you're seeing different voices say different things about whether or not they support that policy. We do. We've legislated it, and it's going to be delivered to Australians.
Speaking of structural reform, though, you're also looking to help sole traders and small businesses employ more staff with a $7 million online guide to navigating a pretty complex workplace relations process. Have you got plans for structural reform there to simplify industrial relations?
Well, it's like tax, isn't it? They are complex issues, and indeed, I have a wife who works in employment law, and you know, the acts are quite long, and no doubt there are many businesses
so you want to keep her in employment?
Well, that's not my job as the treasurer. I'll leave that to other businesses. But what I can say, Kochi, is that we're always looking for opportunities to simplify, whether it's the industrial relations system or the tax system, because more simple laws to understand often leads to better compliance as well.
Yep.
OK, let's go to the story of the day, really. A Tamil family in detention on Christmas Island. They're going to be reunited in Perth today as their youngest daughter undergoes treatment in hospital. Immigration Minister Alex Hawke will soon make the announcement on their future. Can you give us any indication about what that might be?
Well, the Minister will make a statement, but I can confirm that the reports are true, that the family will be reunited on Australian soil. This is a case that's been protracted for some time. It's gone through many legal hearings, and as you know, it's been a very difficult one. And some of those images were pretty confronting of the family being separated. But we put in place our border policies because back between 2008 and 2013, we saw more than 50,000 unauthorised boat arrivals. We saw tens of thousands of people go into detention, Kochi, and we saw more than 1,200 lives lost.
To be honest, this case will not spark another flood of people smugglers bringing boat people to Australia. You can't honestly be telling us that.
Well, I'm not saying that. In fact, I say the contrary, that the decision that the minister will make today,
and they'll stay,
will ensure that. Well, I will leave the details of that decision to him to make, as you would expect. But the decision he will make today will not undermine the integrity of our border policies. Our settings remain strong, our settings remain effective, and they have helped save lives that would have otherwise been lost, because we did see more than 1,200 lives lost at sea. When we're talking about people smugglers, we're talking about people of the very worst kind who prey on the most vulnerable people.
Agree.
Four Corners last night broke down the relationship between the PM and a high-profile follower of this conspiracy theory group. Should we be worried about this relationship with QAnon?
Well, I think it's rubbish, and that I didn't watch the show, but I can say that the Prime Minister...
So they're not friends?
Well, I'm not going into the details about that because I'm not privy to that, but what I can tell you is this notion that the Prime Minister is linked to QAnon is absolute rubbish. And he's actually made very strong comments to that effect and provided a statement that I think you can find on the ABC website.
But this bloke stayed at his house.
Well, again...
And there's photos of him.
Well, you obviously didn't have anything better to do last night, Kochie, than watch that show. I did, and I'm not going to give those sort of accusations credence, because the main issue at play is to if they're trying to link the Prime Minister to QAnon,
Right.
that's absolute rubbish.
Okay, all right. Just asking. Have to ask you. You're going to be part of Carlton's
Did you watch it? Did you watch it?
Are you going to be part of Carlton's independent review of their football department?
Well, I'll leave that to Matthew Pavlich, who's a better choice than me. I'm too partisan.
No, I'd agree with that. All right. Thank you, Treasurer.
All the best.